Hello and welcome to another episode of the SMEFocus show, brought to you by the FactoryNOW TV team. I'm your host, Christopher Greenough, and in this series we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we will discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges facing the industry in these unprecedented times. I have worked in the sector for over 26 years and I'm CCO at SDE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. So you can hopefully appreciate this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today is Andrea Wilson, Director at Hone-All Precision Ltd. Andrea, welcome to the show. Nice to see you.
Hi, Christopher. How are you?
Fine, thank you. You keeping well?
Yes, good, thank you. Well and safe.
Lots of challenges that we're going to discuss. So we'll go straight into our first question. So tell us about Hone-All Precision and exactly what you do.
We're precision machinists and based in Leighton Buzzard. We're a very close, very strong team of 42. Very loyal and long-standing team, to be honest. The majority of our employees have got 15, 20 years service, and yet our average age profile is only 42.
Yeah.
So we are market leader, in our opinion, in deep hole boring, deep hole drilling, honing, and CNC turning. So effectively, we make tubes from hip screws through to rocket launch tubes.
So you mentioned your close-knit team. How have you managed to work with and protect that team during, obviously, the COVID pandemic started last year? How have you managed to keep them safe and keep the business running?
Thanks to a really great team, to be fair. It's been difficult for me personally because I've had to shield throughout, but I've come into work every day where it's meant I've not had the close contact with the full team that I'd normally have, which has been really difficult for me. So from my perspective, I've communicated through a really strong management team and also through newsletters and constant communication and lots of waves from the boardroom, which looks over the shop floor. But for someone, you know, a company like ours where we're so close-knit and we are a totally open door company, it's been difficult for me. But I've had my first jab now, so I'm hoping I can get back down on the shop floor in the next couple of weeks.
Very good. And talking of the jab, how did that go?
Yeah, really good. No side effects, just a really sore arm. So please don't be afraid.
Well, it's about, I mean, that rolling out of the vaccine, over 10 million people now had the vaccine. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, thank goodness.
Absolutely. It's just now a case of making sure that we all do what we need to do to get there as quick as possible.
Absolutely. Now, I see from your website, your extensive website's very good. You've got a raft of customer testimonials on there. What keeps customers coming back to Hone-All? What keeps them working with you?
We're a small company with a really big heart. we care, you know, our customers, a lot of them have been with us 25, 28 years. They keep coming back. We communicate, we enjoy their company, even though at the moment it's mainly virtually. But we like to be able to treat our customers as though they're a part of this team, because at the end of the day, we see ourselves, our customers and our industry as one big machine. And if one part fails, we all fail.
What sort of sectors are you working in?
Every sector, to be honest. Historically, our biggest sector has always been oil and gas. Obviously, that's quite difficult at the moment. But hydraulics, medical, automotive, defence, aerospace. And in some instances, we just don't know because the customers will only send us stage drawings. So we know we're making a tube and it could be for, you know, anything from a vintage classic car through to some integral part in some mass defence contract.
Yeah, you don't know the end use. Yeah. And is Brexit having an impact on your business? Everyone, obviously, we had COVID last year. 2020 was written off for many businesses. Now we're into post-Brexit. The impact is having on some businesses. Have you seen an impact on your business?
To be fair, we export and import very little because a lot of our work is rather large in terms of sort of, you know, 300 mil diameter, 3 meters long. It's not necessarily financially viable for customers to be shipping that around the world. But the biggest impact we've seen is on our customers. You know, the frustrations that we're seeing in them, that we're hearing from them about the hauliers not knowing what paperwork's required, you know, the extra complications and unnecessary paperwork that we're all having to face now at borders. the government's been emailing us all and posting on websites for the last 2 years to tell us to get prepared for Brexit, but they didn't quite prepare their own borders.
No, they didn't, and that's that lack of investment. And everyone knew there was going to be paperwork. They just haven't put enough resource into it. So there are delays at the ports, which will have impacts on supply and eventually prices.
Exactly, and that I think is the biggest frustration we're seeing, because we work really hard to make sure that we keep our costs competitive, because if our customers are competitive and win the work, we're going to continue to win it too.
Absolutely.
But when they're facing additional costs that are completely out of our control and theirs, it's a really tough time for a lot of people, and I just hope that we get it sorted quickly.
Absolutely. And in terms of investing in your company over the last 5 years, you've had quite an investment plan, and quite a lot of money gone into keeping you ahead of the competition.
Yeah, we've invested in deep hole boring machines, honing machines. I have 4 new CNC lathes, all to keep capacity increasing, technology, making sure we're at the forefront of quality, and most importantly is making sure that delivery can be met. Luckily for us, the majority of what we needed was done before COVID hit. We have really now, we're going to use 2021 to refocus strategy-wise. We achieved everything that we wanted to achieve on our previous strategy. COVID distracted us from setting the new one. So I think we've just been accepted on an Innovate UK help, assistance for businesses and Innovate to Succeed. And we're going to use that and use the opportunity to actually bring the team back together, because like I say, it's felt a little bit disjointed with us not being able to meet in the same way that we used to, the big staff meetings. And we'd all be in the tea room and, having a giggle about what's gone right and what's gone wrong. So
it's trying to bring that team back together. So even, people are being remote working. We've obviously got these remote video calls, but it is a different scenario than we had in, say, 2019. And people have got to work in different ways. And some people can embrace that, and some people are struggling with that. But as you say, it's about trying to bring that team back together. Hopefully, once the vaccine's properly rolled out, we can beat COVID eventually. We can get back to normality, and it would be great to be able to visit customers or have suppliers in, or just, as you say, have shop floor meetings. That is something that we have missed in 2020, isn't it, really?
Definitely. We've all missed family and friends, but, we spend the rest of our time at work, and we develop those relationships at work. And when you can't get that closeness either at home or at work, so many people are really struggling with it. And I think that's going to be one of the things I look forward to most. That and a little bit of sun on my back at some point.
Well, summer is hopefully coming. And the rest of 2021, apart from bringing the team together, have you got any other plans for 2021?
Yeah, as you know, we're quite active on LinkedIn, and I saw a fantastic post on there about changing the light bulbs and utilising this time to actually look at things afresh and polish the place. We're a honing company, and so we're going to hone the business. We're going to, re-look at our processes and just make sure that we are best placed and ready and raring to go when the upturn comes, or literally when we start flying again. In both senses of the word.
I see lots of what you do on LinkedIn, and I think really social media is now going to come even more to the forefront. Certainly for manufacturers, we have to be able to sell and connect in a different way. And there's a learning curve to that as well, because manufacturers haven't always embraced social media in a way of actually connecting and contacting their customers.
Absolutely. I think, let's be honest, we're all learning new things, and these challenges that the world keeps throwing at us, like always, as manufacturers, basically, we adapt and we overcome. So I think a lot of people have learned very different ways. And to be fair, I'd like some of these advances to carry on. Zoom meetings, it's so much easier now to meet with customers, even though it's not necessarily in the way you want to, but you can actually meet more because you're not dealing with the travel. So I think there's a lot we've learned, and there's a lot we can take forward and try and cling on to the positives of this last nightmare 12 months.
Absolutely. And it's good to speak to you, Andrea. And following on from that, just being positive and that positivity. Thank you for what you do on LinkedIn and promoting UK manufacturing. It's great to see, and thank you for your time today.
No, you're very welcome, and let's all keep it going. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks.
That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our brilliant SME manufacturers next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or even to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. Thank you for watching as always. So from me, Chris G at SDE, goodbye.